I don't know where the fuck I am. And I haven't even left Earth yet.
There are children listening or reading this, so maybe calm the fuck down.
Well, children, life gets hard, but easier when you have music playing in the background. Sure, I don't know where it's coming from, but that's okay. I'll deal with that later.
What's going on with you, Bruce?
I feel thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread.
Did you just quote Lord of the Rings on me?
Oh, you're good.
He stood beside his craft, staring at her, looking at his vehicle that would take him through his journey. He thought out loud.
Here it comes.
What does?
Uncertainty, like four walls that are closing in on you, and you got nowhere to go. But at the same time, you still want out, and you still can run freely in any direction. A sense of being rogue.
Okay, man, you kinda lost me right there. That doesn't make sense at all. And sounds contradictory, by the way. What is rogue?
Yes, contradictory indeed, my friend. And well, I believe there's a whole spectrum of being rogue, similar to the spectrums of light and sound, and you can consider them from several points, extremes even.
I pretended to know what light and sound spectrums were, but still, he didn't answer my question at all of what rogue is. Not directly, at least. Instead, he got lost in his thoughts, as if trying to organize and figure out what to say. Some minutes passed and finally he spoke.
The idea comes from rogue planets that for some reason have been ejected from its host star, wandering in deep space with no established orbit, no path, just trying to find a place to be, or even waiting for anyone to snatch them and bring them back to orbit, saving them from roaming alone in the cosmos. You can say they have this sense of being completely free, but at the same time experience the feeling of concern, entrapment or stress caused by not having anyone that accepts them, no clear road for them, no home. And that, my friend, can be quite dangerous.
He waited to see if there was a reaction on my part, to know as if what he said made some sense to me. And it did, kind of, but all I did was ask, why dangerous?
Because they're going through space, through life with no trajectory, out of control and anywhere, anytime. Some can collide with other planets, crash with steady worlds and cause destruction, chaos. They can also alter everything, even if they don't hit anything. They just have to roam closely, and that's because their gravitational pull, their current nature can change everything drastically. Their sole presence can affect something or someone who is somewhat balanced.
He kept looking up at everything that surrounded this fragile world. In his helmet you could not see his eyes. He was hard to read, but you could see the lights that bounced on his black visor. That was easy. And in which part of the spectrum of rogue are you?
Where do you think I am?
I refused to answer that question. I kept silent. I kept my thoughts to myself. Then I heard something like a laugh, and then he said,
You'll see. And just remember, it's okay to tell the truth, to be honest about your thoughts. For this will be a journey of hard and cold truths, even if that means being hurt.
I changed the subject real fast and returned to the previous subject on the table. So I managed to ask him, going back to rogue planets, why do I feel we are talking of more than just planets? And he took a few seconds to himself and said,
Because we are, and you can imagine us or someone that can act as a rogue planet. And finding someone like that, or being like that, can signify partly that you are in for a roller coaster ride.
But man, roller coaster rides are the shit, was the thought that crossed my mind while he was still speaking.
It's a ride where you find yourself in levels, of ups and downs, of wanting to help or feel helpless, of being scared and pulling away, of opening up and running away, escaping, living something great, or feeling desired and at the same time unwanted, undeserved, of trying to trust someone and having trust issues, of hurting someone or being hurt by the person you care about.
An image came to my mind, for I am more than just a voice, but I got rid of that memory in a blink of an eye. Then I told him, what kind of levels?
In some levels everything is amazing and perfect. You're stable, you are just starting, you are going upward and slow, and then you reach the peak, and it's exciting. You can feel happy because of what's coming, and after you hit that peak, everything changes. You find yourself in a downfall and it can hurt like shit. Everything moves, your world moves, you might want out. You ask yourself, what just happened? But then you arrive at the bottom, then at the middle, at the stage of calmness again. And you are okay. And a new lap of ride begins. You go slow and you start climbing. Only now you know what's coming and you feel things intensely. Then you reach the top again and you fall and feel everything the same once more.
Isn't that just life? Isn't that just love?
Love? No, man. That roller coaster ride is something we tell ourselves love should be. Love shouldn't be that, because what we are really experiencing is an addiction to those ups and downs. And that shit causes anxiety, stress, sadness all the way, every time. It's a disturbance of the Force.
Star Wars fan.
Come to the dark side of the Force.
I refrain myself from asking what love is. I don't want to know just yet. Still, why would this guy know? But anyway, I did consider that in his explanation maybe everyone can fit in that spectrum of being rogue. I was still curious about that. I just asked him if those planets are more common in our galaxy than planets still orbiting their star.
Interestingly enough, they are believed to be more common. And take our world for example. Here, having no path is a sign that something is not well. That is probably why a lot of people hide if they feel lost or empty, if they feel trapped. And some fill that void with things, attention, with relationships, with stuff that only makes them feel even emptier and sadder. And this sense can affect deeply, mainly in your own life, but also in someone else's life.
I got to think for a while about the times I myself was hurt and how I also heard it. And I kept trying to find myself in the spectrum, but couldn't. I felt everywhere. I need more time. I managed to say, why does having things make everything worse?
I believe having too many unnecessary things will. Buddha said that having things only represents obstacles in your life, and that aiming towards trying to have more and more possessions will eventually make your life stressful, sadder, emptier, and somewhat miserable. The less you have, the more free you can be.
Couldn't help thinking how a simple planet, a rogue planet, could represent a variety of meanings. And I just thought by rogue, you meant people who are considered rebellious, dangerous.
Well, it's maybe the way of other people saying that rogue people have lost their path, derailed from the normal path. Because haven't you ever felt that your life is going nowhere, pathless, like an arrow that has been shot, but with no target aimed? That there is no real place where you can belong, that you consider yourself, or are considered by others, as an outsider, just drifting through life, looking to fit in, anywhere. But I mean really fit in, or be comfortable at least.
Isn't that how we all start life? The default path that has been laid out from the beginning.
In a way, you are right. We are all rogue planets at first, and some find themselves already in a home, which does not necessarily mean you won't lose yourself or feel lost along the way, because in your lifetime, you will feel rogue. Children, for example, they are raised and guided, some in more difficult environments than others, and when they are older, they'll have to find their own way considering their unique living circumstances. And some find their way, some have more trouble than others, some get helped and are saved, some fight their way back towards something, and some others are left to drift in the vacuum. And this last part is where humanity fails. We fail each other every single day.
Not gonna lie, I got moved by the notion of failing. But how are we failing?
There are people or even other living creatures like dogs that we could be helping, that we aren't helping, and that desperately need our help. And considering what I told you before, helping someone has a collateral effect.
And why is that?
Because helping someone rogue means helping many more people around that person. And there's a saying, helping one person, one dog, won't change the whole world, but it will change the whole world for that one dog or that one person.
That's probably reading too much into a rogue planet, don't you think?
I mean, I believe that we can find ourselves out there, in the cosmos, or maybe there are some times we got nothing going on here, no clarity, no visible path. It is how I see it anyways, but it is how rogue planets act. There is science behind what I'm telling you. I'm not making this stuff up, but obviously you're entitled to having your own interpretations of what goes on in the universe.
I could sense that he smiled when I said that I never would have even thought of reflecting upon rogue planets and how they can relate to our lives.
Well, the cosmos has more than meets the eye, more than lights and constellations. It is so much more than we know or what we think we know, and our knowledge of it is very small. It is as small or even smaller as our presence in the universe, but growing. And many people that have followed some part of the rogue's path to discover something have been seen as freaks for having ideas that are way too advanced to their times. But interestingly enough, with the passing of years, their ideas finally make sense.
But why would they be deemed as freaks?
Normal defines who is weird. Normal is the common denominator in the world. So sometimes, the more there is of something, the more normal it is. Opposite goes for those who are weird. They are weird because they are less common. They are less found in the world. And for us, normal is weird, because how can there be so many people that are more alike than different?
Or maybe it's because they are those who hide their weirdness. And geniuses are even weirder. They are so few of them.
Spot on point. Or you can also just be deemed a freak for being different, labeled, and everything comes down to that you're just a freak. I don't know, Bruce. My mind is drifting.
I see. So people who are rogue are waiting for something or someone to help them, to get them out of where they presently stand, waiting for a hand or lifeline to be given to them.
In part, yes. And we are always moving in the spectrum. And that's the beauty of us humans, because in some cases, people help people and other animals. They are the lucky ones, for empathy has become rare these days.
I didn't know what to say. Rogue seems so negative, down, difficult to get out of or recover. I fell into darkness, almost regretting going on this stupid journey, and my silence gave me away.
But hey, chin up. I'll finish this with a positive note, a very powerful one for that matter. Don't lose hope and listen, my friend.
I kind of smiled sarcastically. How can this end in a positive note? I thought to myself.
Know that in most cases, waiting to be saved is not enough, nor should it be your primary objective. You have to look for that something. Look for the answer or the solution that can bring you back to orbit. And there comes in place our will, our motivation and sacrifice to do so. Rogue is also the potential you have, the ability and drive to change things forever, and being able to do it for the betterment of yourself and of the world, and there is no going back.
I wasn't 100% sold on the idea, but I allowed him to continue with this train of thought.
We are all rogue planets, and we all start as one, and there is a spectrum of being rogue. You just have to see where you stand. Being rogue is not bad. It's an opportunity to first realize where you are, to look yourself in the mirror and try to find the right way, the right person for you, the right place to be without hurting someone along the way. And if you are in a great place, consider the possibility of helping someone else get back to orbit.
Well, that kind of sounds better. I could see and understand his point, but those are just words now. So I asked, right now, are you in a rogue planet mode?
It's curious. I feel out of place here, alone, lost, and now I'm going out there to the unknown to find something, and I'll be alone there too. Probably get lost as well, even more so than I am here. And still, it's kind of exciting, and there's a purpose to it that gives the journey a meaning, and it is worth the try. I don't know, this feels like that, like a rogue planet just going out there, waiting and at the same time looking for something. My mind is not going away so I can alter things for the worst. Quite the opposite, for the better, to find things, answers. We'll just have to see what we see. For now, this is how we begin.
Now that you mention it, it does sound exciting. Fire that jet up.
Well, it's not actually a jet, it's a craft.
Well, fire that shit up.
We'll be heading out of here like rogue worlds, drifting in space, looking for something. Our goal is to decode messages of the cosmos and those sounds that I keep hearing and bring them back. Bring them for people, for everyone, for those rogue planets, those especially that need a lifeline now more than ever. So we have to make the return trip back home. And for that, we'll have to travel in what was once thought to be the ether,
What is ether?
You'll see. It's the air of the gods.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, the universe doesn't care if the universe makes sense to you or not.
Okay, let's bounce.